Yeah, that guy never learns, right? He never learns that Undo takes everything that he says super, super serious. And now, it is time, huh? The Fathom is here. The Fathom is officially here. Do we actually have a dungeon now, or is this just a short run towards the boss fight? You know, like they usually like to do occasionally. I mean, I would totally understand it, because this isn't really an official dungeon that leads to a golden row, but still, during the last canto we didn't even have a dungeon to begin with. It was just one boss fight after the other. So I would definitely kinda appreciate it if, you know, they would include it. At least a second floor or something. At least give us a second floor or something. Oh well. Let's see. Oh. If that is how everyone has been living, then my life, my photographs too. Yes? Huh. So this is S.Corp 2, right? Should be. It is reminiscing to my homeland, but the sights are much too hideous compared to what rests in my memories. Hideous, you say? Hideous was apt? Probably accurate? When we emerged from the entrance of the dungeon into S.Corp streets, what greeted us was a distorted and eerie scenes I wouldn't be surprised to find in an S.Corp-themed haunted mansion. Oh god, this is a place hardly fit for human habitation, far more dilapidated than once inspected. Thou says that people inhabit these lands for truth? Yes, kinda. Really? I think it has some cool vibes. Of course you will enjoy it. Vibes my foot, and I think I may be able to get a wink of sleep around here. The lives of the downtrodden were bested by 1,000 woes and tenfold more of struggles, and the streets that they inhabit reflected that reality. Many times have I contemplated in consternation on how exactly folks here had even the will to live on. The shadow that had begun to haunt Kim's face still lingers there as he looked around. If the distortion revealed the fathom of those it gazes into, as Kim has said, perhaps this is how S.Corp is reflected in his eyes. A haunting place of horror. Understandable. On the day when the skies were spotless blue, and without order from the consular, I would scale the roof of that shoga, a roof of house, and feel its rustle beneath my back as I lay upon it. I thought it would be a respite solely mine, yet in this mirrored world, another has walked here before my arrival. I joined him looking up at that hatchet roof of the shoga. Beneath it is a wicked tunnel have I passed, and now I witness myself before the one who shall shake the head from my torso. Or rather strike! God, I can't read! There was a figure standing tall next to the building, staring defiantly up towards the man on the straw roof. It's Ppyeo. See. Are you home? No, clearly not. I'm definitely not home. Are you home? I asked. What a strange visitor that I have. Why not call at the front gate if you're coming to seek the master of the house? Be not like a dog barking up at the wrong tree here. It is quite unbecoming of you. Right. A dog, you say? Really now? I can see you up there, launching on the rooftop. I'm not going to speak to the door like I'm blind. Has a spell of some sort befallen you today? To have such an odd occasion to inspire twice successively the work of a betwitching spirit, I would say. Spirit? What is so betwitching about checking in on someone? Well, isn't it odd that the high and noble military commissionary of our esteemed corporation would come in person to simply check in on how a lone mercenary would fare? So you know me. She certainly knows her jests, huh? She marches forward, vasting in war-strided armor, yet expect no violence. She wields a two-handed great blade like a demonic yaksha, yet harbors no hostility in intent. Why, who else might she be but the military commissioner, Ppyeo, the principal of the Fateful family? Oh? You're certainly in the habit of speaking in hyperbole, I see. I'm not so noble that I deserve to be complimented with an aptitude as grand as the principal. Oh no, it's not a compliment, you see, commissionary. This is a rhetorical technique known as the backhand compliment, in which I damn you with praises, for you're so bound in your precious principle that you would rather be unreasonable than betray any of them. Does an officer ranked second ordinary have no wits to engage in such a banter? Oh, I think she got angry. Oh, I'm definitely sure she got angry. Why, am I out of line, as they say? I see. I guess the two were friends then, huh? Otherwise, you wouldn't dare to say such words towards her. Right? That was our first meeting. So no, not at that precise moment. That was your first meeting? And you were so rude towards her? You even said that she has a sword like a demon! A great sword like a demon! I know I'm just saying that if I were her, I wouldn't ever let myself become friends with you after such a bad first impression. That's for sure. I can't even imagine becoming friends with someone who keeps pushing my buttons like that. Maybe, but people do find friendship in such personalities, if they have a taste for prickings. That is true. You've got a friend in us, don't you? Fine, I guess you have a point in that. I guess I do have a habit of pushing people's buttons as well. But still, I hope that you're not seriously comparing the way that I talk to the sassy, gotcha-digging, punch-riddled... anyways, the world we live in is vast and a diverse one. Consider yourself lucky that you're surrounded by so many of these quirky characters. It's because of the same luck that you took the joke well, rather than responding by trying to cut my head off. Uh-huh. You are out of line. Yes, but I knew that it would be, so I won't take issues in that. Though I must admit, the rumors of your sharp tongue do you no justice. The streets speak of a man that they call Kim Lip. Rain hat? I see. A man who once had intended to pursue the path of the brush, only to realize the sin of his forefathers and exile himself back to the back streets. Yet, with the sheer power of will, gritted teeth and scarred heart, did he find in the path of the sword another way into the nest, as the right state consular swore guard at that. That is you, isn't it? Yes, probably. All of those superlatives I see. Yet the reality is that I've merely found the path of man butchery as a viable way of love. Direct any sort of compliments that you have towards the right state consular instead, if you will. I am but a butchering blade that happens to fall into the right hands. Yeah, not a compliment guy either. Just the words on the streets. See, I guess you're a quick learner then. And spare me the fancy reading of my name. Watching you pretend that preposterous posturing comes natural is painfully enough already. Keep it simple and spell it out as bamboo-headed kid. Thank you. And does it continue to wear away from the lungs? I would rather be a corpse cold and dead than stay alive. Have a shred of mercy on me, almighty one. If I'd come all this way here just to punish you for a little misdeed and ill manners, I would have laid you out and split you in two, 3 ways before this riveted dialogue brought us this far. She's very sure about herself, huh? So, feel safe to continue trespassing outside of these lines. But in return, would you answer a few of my questions as well? I've been watching you from a distance for a while now, and... Really? Stalking someone is not very a principle of yours, is it? She was stalking you? Okay. And you're sure that she didn't give you a good wallop after that? I mean, you literally called her a stalker there. No, it was truly a mystery, isn't it? Besides, she did give me a free rein to continue transparring outside of the lines, right? I couldn't, in good conscience, turn down such an offer of kindness, you see? Not that I ever do. You sure have a way with your words. A way of finding your way under the listener's skin as well, huh? Yep. Perhaps yet as such happens not to be expected amongst fellowships of close mutual bonds. But here's the thing, you saying? They aren't friends yet! That is the start of the friendship! They don't really look like friends yet, though. See? Ishmael points it out as well! And Kim said it beforehand as well! Huh. So, can you tell us why she's been watching you? Ah, yes. I was engaged in the age-old pastime of throwing rocks. Rocks? Oh, do you mean the game of skipping rocks? Usually we save them for the festival of Dano. And well, I was throwing rocks at the passerby. Okay, that sounds horrible, Kim. You were not supposed to toss at people, you're supposed to toss them across the river. That's the fun part. Fire on D! This is the wrong deed, good sir. I guess it is. People of Yon and Sal in particular found it to be distasteful as well. They did not let their discontent be hid either. But the P and the downtrodden cheered me on, to a degree. They found it cathartic, as to say. Huh, curious indeed. Then, is it a right deed, or a deed not right? Yon? Sal? Whatever is it that thou is describing here? Oh, I know Sal. Sal was the sword style, right? So, it's a group of different kind of people. It is a well-known truth that S.Corp is also known by its other name, the Ppyeo Agro Industry. A wing specialized in the general agriculture and livestock industry of the city. The vastness and the depths of its responsibility have necessitated such diversion of labor. Thus, District 19 is split into 3 court circles, responsible for different aspects of the industry. The Sal, the P, and Ppyeo, meaning flesh, blood, and bones, respectively. Mind, I thought it was different kinds of groups. That's just different types of products. Sal, huh? Responsible for the cultivation of rice and other grains. Yon, responsible for meat and livestock. P, in charge of technology aspect of the both. As a scientist and researcher who has once toiled at S.Corp, he must have felt the persuasion that the P has faced firsthand. It is believed that the Trinity was designed for balance, that they would provide assistance when requested, and keep one another in check when needed. It was once a promise of cultivating a fair and sustainable S.Corp. But alas, the noble intention of yesteryears now lies solid. The Trinity, now degraded to 3 quarreling bands of Presbyterian, blinded by their own greed and avarice, relying not on honor but betrayal and poverty to claim the top of the triangle. An inherent of the flesh claimed the position of the chief state consular and monopolized rice as the common folks were starving. An inherent of the bone, once right state consular, toast to the Sal and rise to the seat of the left state consulars. It's a shameless conspiracy. Permit not even the common folks to even tilt the land as they please. The anguished cries of suffering have flooded the streets. And thus, the common folks are reduced to livestock, bleeding out, hanging from the hooks, with bones and flesh colluded like that of the emanating of the dead. Who shall claim the severance of flesh and bone, and force them both to yield? It was an oft-heard poem when walking the streets of S.Corp. Yeah, so they were hoping for the third group to defeat the other two who were colluding with each other. But how exactly is 1/3 supposed to be 2/3? They were systematically rotting each other out, and after the blood is gone, they can take care of each other to see who is the last one standing, but also decimating even more people in the process. It's in a power struggle. It's horrible. And the people who you have targeted with their rocks they weren't people at all. Those were rats. From bones and flesh? See? Never mind, just as many rocks as you want to. That was actually a good deed! Rats? Yes. The Counselor finds rats detestable indeed. Much better to stop them from a distance, if you want to crush them. By any chance, do these rats have habits of sneaking into royal court to better pilfer what the common folks rightfully deserve? They certainly suffer from severe cases of kleptomania. So you purposely threw a rock at his feet to trip him to the ground, knowing that he was a klepto-rat? Well, I simply could not help but react, as such as the presence of such a scurry rat. Oh, she finds it funny! Is there something that you find fun? Speak if you do. I could use a good laugh about now. Just hardly expressing my gratitude here. That's all. Those whose corruption is revealed ought to readily receive their scarlet aura bonds. The goal to scrap away with the expensive prosthetic my men were having some trouble apprehending them as well. Until now. Well, if that's your intention, you're invited to leave a token of gratitude somewhere in the vicinity. Perhaps I'll just happen to pick it up or something. I wouldn't really want to get thrown into a dungeon teeming with the real vermins. Oh, well, I was going to do just that. So, when exactly will you stop being a sword and be a human again? What? When do you clock out exactly? The way that I see it, you're not the kind of person who would ever let a drop of liquid get to his throat while on duty for the right state constantly. Right. Return to the Shoga when you're human again. I will buy you a drink as a thanks. She unmasked herself. I see! She looks very kind! Hey! She was quite the funny one, huh? Oh yeah! But that begs the question, what exactly happened that it has changed like that? Wasn't she trying to kill you during the previous encounter? Huh. Mentor, then this fella that you had often mentioned fondly of was... Yes, that's correct. Haven't I mentioned her a few times already as a drinking fella that I had left behind in S.Corp? I must say, I myself found that relationship most intriguing indeed. That the military commissioner of the Sal faction would fraternize with a bodyguard of the right state consular, who was of the P faction. Still, I knew not that the fella was none other than the military commissioner of S.Corp. Andu's eye had gone wide in shock. Her voice rises unconsciously. It is news to me that you had ties to a second ordnance officer, a military officer with command over high-ranking employees of the wing at that as well. Well, I was in service of the right state consul, right? Who's a First Ordinance as well, you know? Well, that might be true. Yet you would like to know why I, with such a powerful friend by my side, have ended up as an exile of S.Corp. Hmm? Yes, your silence of a matter of such great importance is why I have come to introduce you to others as a reticent one, mentor. He had made the Blade lineage our home, for S.Corp availed no home for us but the lineage. But you, mentor. I guess I would rather show than tell about that. Let us just proceed, shall we? Sure thing. This enchanted place seems intent on unearthing all of my past, both savory and unsavory. All shall be revealed in due time. Kim looked around, a twinkle of loneliness in his eyes, before moving on. We follow without a word. Because this is currently his story. There's no reason for us to interrupt. Why is there a tutorial about dungeons? Huh? Are they always resetting them or something? Maybe they are. Okay, let me just see. That looks like a bunch of huddled together pictures. That might already be the actual boss fight. So that means this entire thing only has one floor. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a bummer, but I'll just accept it. Anyways, the first event. What's this? We emerged into a dark and muggy cavern, filled with air so stale that it almost felt stifling. Up ahead, a tiny ray of light shone through the darkness, seemingly guiding our path. Following the light led us to a four-way fork in the road. A constant, powerful gust howled through one of the path. Another was filled with a metallic clang, the smell of blood. Then was a path that was entirely silent. The last one echoes with a harsh noise of sword striking against sword. Now then, which path will you choose? Okay. Not entirely sure what the wind is going to mean. The smell of blood probably means a battlefield. Silent path almost sounds like it's already over. But then again, wait a second. If this is the battlefield, what's this? They're actively clashing. This has to be a fight. Considering the options, I guess the silent path is probably the safest for us? Yeah? Maybe? Sure. Let's just pick the silent one. The passage was quiet, but it only intensified the uncanny dread prevailing in the silence. Nervous, the Synod progresses throughout the passage, accompanied by an absolute lack of sound, save for the deep echoes of their own footsteps, until we reach what appears to be a pedestal made of stacked stones. On top of the pedestal was something that we've become familiar with at this point. It was a can made for inhaling. Ah! Oh, would you look at that? Damage up. Lovely. I thought it was supposed to be that ego guy now. You know, the one that stacks stone. Don't remember if he actually has an event in the mirror dungeon or not. But it would make sense if we got his ego here. Oh well, I definitely appreciate this. A free damage up is always helpful. Now then. Pretty sure we get an equal amount of fights and events no matter where we go, so it doesn't really matter where exactly we're heading, but I guess for now we're just going to take the straight path. Oh yeah, we're just going to take the straight path right through it. So, that wasn't so bad. Time for the next little event. Excuse me? Oh? As we were slowly looking around the streets of S.Corp, a young, after fidgeting and hesitating for a moment, walked up to us and asked for help. The young explained that wishing to better his own status, he took the royal examination, akin to a public employment policy in S.Corp, and was able to attain a higher grade for himself. That's good! And that was where his problems began. As far as he knew, people who passed the exam with flying colors like himself had their travel expense paid for the homeward trip, and were to be granted a guide as well. But there must have been a misunderstanding or something, because when he left the exam ground, no one was really there to escort him. Confused by the unexpected turn of events, he wandered away from the examining ground in search for his escort. Losing his bearings, of course, found himself in his alleys. He is asking if he could help him with directions. So, what should we do? Well, we're definitely going to help him. Sorry, but we've never been here before either. Well, we could definitely ask him our group if somebody can help, right? Yeah, at least try to help. Gluttony or pride? Well, Masold, I have high hopes for you. You are the encyclopedia of the entire team. This is your calling to answer questions like these, right? Masold opens their mouth to begin, stopped, and then turned around to where bamboo-headed Kim and Angdu were. I am not so well versed in the geography of this area. Perhaps Mentor would know better than me. Oh, come on now! Kim let out an audible, disconcerted sigh, then walked up to the youth to give him the directions. You take off that royal celebratory flower crown. You don't want people to know that you passed the exam, alright? But why would... This is for your own good. Actually, it's for a very good reason. Just do as I say, and you will thank me later. The youth stared back at him in puzzlement, before seemingly deciding that giving proper gratitude for Kim's assistance per precedence, he ended us what appears to be a small ceramical ware of the vessel. Ah, might this be a water dropper for brush calligraphy? Though you may have no particular need of this, for I see none of you are much acquainted with the art of grinding ink against the inkstone. I impart this gift to you, in hopes that this dropper may form a small flow in your rivers of life. Ha! Though it would have made for a rather moving moment, had it not been for the exaggerated scoff that Kim has given. The youth hurried on his path without minding the sudden discourtesy. Angdu later asked Kim what had spurred his sudden outburst, but he did not give her a reply, instead choosing silence behind pursed lips. Maybe he used to like to draw, or write stuff, before he picked up the blade. Maybe. Either way, I appreciate the gift. Water dropper. Here? Oh, that looks pretty. When an allied identity gains assist defense, the said ally also gains damage up and protection. Here? Turn in gains haste next turn. When an identity speed is faster than the enemy, deal additional damage. They're talking about assist defense again. I don't think that I actually managed to get that to work during the last boss fight. But maybe this time it's actually going to work. Yeah? At the very least, I can hope. At the very least, I can hope. Oh my god! 42? 400 damage? What? Why am I fighting? Why am I even fighting, Kim? You can just do it all by yourself if you want to! Oh my god! And by the way, I should probably check up on his passives. That's the first time I actually saw him fight around here. He's incredibly strong! He's incredibly strong! No wonder he's laying back! He probably thinks it's only needed when it absolutely becomes necessary. Otherwise, the others can't gain any additional experience, right? He wants to encourage us to grow up by ourselves. After all, look at our damage. Getting hit left and right. Because of red coins again. Always because of the red coins. Alright. This is a prison? Huh. I catch a glimpse of a figure staring off into the darkness of the unlit prison. Huh. Bamboo-headed Kim lets out a sigh, but before he even fully exhales. Huh? Who is there? Oh, the prisoner. A sharp cry cuts through the stagnant air. Someone here must have noticed us as well. So, what should we do? Good question. Was it the guard or was it the prisoner? We could claim to be the prisoner's guard in order to keep watch over the prisoner. Or we could prepare for a fight. But I don't really want to pick a fight right now. I kind of want to avoid bats if it's possible. So yeah, you know what? We are prison guards. Definitely. We are here to watch the prisoner. At least put in a little effort into your lives, sir. Clearly pretending to be prison guards the way that we are was a lie too easily disproved. We took to our heels as the woman, red with anger, came after us with a sword unsheathed. Ah, shoot! Never mind, didn't even get to roll for that. Well, it was definitely worth a shot. Right, guys? Definitely worth a shot. Next. Oh. Next is the Fathom. Not a fight, but with a story. Alright. No, it can't be. My life is the experiment. The memories that I had recorded are all different. Oh? Alas. Kim came to a stop with a grim look on his face. Again, I am returned to the stay, I see. His voice has dropped to the same, master pitch that we had heard before. Mentor! I have been here before. Ah, have you now? Had a peek into my memories when I had distorted myself. Did you? I must say, it's a bit embarrassing to have my deepest and darkest secrets revealed like that. Kim grins sheepishly as though to clear the air, but it was becoming rather clear to me what he was actually doing. That his flippant demeanor and seemingly devil-may-care attitude were but a mask to hide the true darkness inside his heart. Then this must be, indeed, the right state consular's estate. Someone who had once protected, thought who was worth protecting. Kim pushed open the main gate and made his way to the front yard. Everything is burning. Hey, watch out, Undo. Take a tall step over, and you might trip yourself. Oh! Oh, Sinclair, did you get tripped? Oh! Their heads! There were bodies splayed about in the yard, and I couldn't dare start counting them. I felt faint watching the aftermath of the carnage. Some were decapitated, some had their torsos split diagonally, and some of them were so mangled that I could hardly even tell which part belongs to who. Are they not retainers of the royal courts? What were they doing at the consular's? No, were they killed by assassins? You really think assassins would make such a messy scene? Now that looks like a butchery job. Like an army fighting each other. That is not an assassination attempt. Maybe it is. Yes, assassins did infiltrate the estate. You're looking at what remains of them. Oh! Okay. I always thought the assassins are more discreet than that. But I guess they got cornered. Guy lost his legs. Whoa. Though I had but a moment to glimpse it, I clearly remember what the S.Corp logo that I saw in Kim's Fathom has looked like. The hats that these corpses are, or rather were wearing, had adorned the same logo. So why is Bamboo-headed Kim calling them assassins? In this corrupted land, the right state consular's life was always as precocious as the candlelight in the tempest. Such is the fate of all those who have the guts to speak the truth in S.Corp, where positions of influence are hoarded by corrupted psychopaths whose chokehold on power is ironcladed. The most prominent amongst them, the left state consular, with the chief state consular's blessing, sought to wield his own private army to silence forever the tongues of those who would advocate against their corruption. So it was an army fighting against an army! Of course! This is not just an assassin's work! But a private army, they are prohibited in our lands. So they are kinda like how the great house of S.Corp had all of their personal armies, huh? That is similar to what is happening, but not exactly. If S.Corp circumstances were to be explained in plainer terms, it would be akin to a situation in which a company whose employees outwardly appears to be all working for the same side is in fact fractured within, with a certain department pledging allegiance to a different individual than the chief executive. What assassins there had been in the past at least wore masks to hide their allegiance. I had thought this so different, though with assassins significantly less invested in maintaining their disguises. Not realizing that I had just placed my stone inside the tiger's maws. What? Oh, wait a second, is this a setup? Oh, they're trying to pin the blame on you because they all look like S.Corp employees. Oh, this is messed up. Gah. Looking around the yard, teeming with assassins, I recall thinking that it was odd just how many of them that they sent today. Though the left state consular's power had grown to loom over that of our king, I should have realized how ridiculous such a blatant attempt on the life of one of the triumphant consular at the royal court would have been. It is foolish. I can't. I have failed you, consular. There were simply too many of them, as though they had decided that tonight was the night that they would finally slay the consular, or at least die trying. I was soon overwhelmed, and some of them eventually managed to get around me and reach the consular's bedchamber. The moment that I heard them breaching the door, all strength had left me, and I fell to my knees. I, Kim Lim, am a poor excuse of a bodyguard. I have failed you, and I knew who the author of the foul scheme was, the left state consular. Let this be my final act of loyalty ere I depart this life. Though I am too eager a person to carry on your will, consular, what I can do is plant the seed of terror into the hearts of the unjust, if only to shackle their the black heart from committing greater misdeeds. I shall go before the villain who contrived this betrayal and see that the favors were paid with steel. Only by such vengeance shall the consular at last close his eyes to his rays. Or so I thought. Really? What? Who's that? Greetings, honorable bodyguard of the right consular. I see that you had been hard at work. Cursed parasite! I thought to flay you alive and reveal the wretched soul underneath! So go, you have to show your face around here! Oh, here? You mean the home of the honorable right state consular, who toiled day and night in service of the royal court. I know the assassins were sent by the left state. Get out of my way! I shall collect your head once my task is complete. Alas, this unsighted display of anger shames us all. Are all those who live by the sword are as uncool as you? The cruelty of your damned word is an oppression upon decent men like myself. Decent? Let's see how long you can say this! Heed me, my soldiers! Arrest the bad butcherer! What? The cursor shall heed his cry. 1 moon ago, an anonymous letter threatening to take the life of the revered Right State Consular arrived at the royal courts. This audacious, contemptuous authority in affronted to not only the royal court, but the heaven and man alike. What is up with these words as of late? The reverted left state consular, who had long been in a disagreement with the right state consular on matters of the state, found this offense to be so heinous that he has personally commanded his man to protect his political enemy on the day written on the letter. What? Yet a tragedy has struck. All those lives sent to protect the noble consular are slain. The bravery and justice of their honorable hearts trampled upon the ground by this villain. And now the villain promised death to yet another pillar of the royal courts. Thus we are, perforce to arrest the criminal and restore the rule of the law. You spout such nonsense, Revel! I saw your man take the way into the consular's bedchamber with the blade strong. Oh, the consular, you say? Might you be looking for the right state consular here, alive and well? What? He's alive? My lord. The vile wretch, leaning down next to my ears, whispers. Perhaps you should have known where to not stick your nose in. Did you really think that you could overcome the entire private army of the left state consular service? Oh no. He sent so many of his men to their death just to lure me into a trap. Why? Now, don't take this as a compliment, as you're not even an apex blade of the homeland, nor are you the Loud Blade? Eh? But you have been a rather egregious obstacle to the execution of my plan. I couldn't get through with the first step of my plan, with you constantly getting in my way. Let's just keep you nicely locked up and out of trouble. This just can't be! Right, state consular? For what it's worth, young man, I am sorry. You're not even protecting him? They were targeting your life! I've come to realize the errors of my way. The truth is, through S.Corp is indeed a pond of turbid water. It was those like us who steered the dirt from its bed and turned it cloudy. Fearing the worst, we arrived to protect the reverted right state consular, as you can see. 1,000 curses upon this villain in his quest for the right state consular's life. The butcherous man has already watered the ground with S.Corp's laborers, the very lifeblood that runs in this vein of the most serenest of wings. And thus, that charcoal-hearted villain is none other than the consular's sworn guard, Limbus. Son of a... He does all villain. Hoba! Oh, and I! And let the unrust bond take you! Seriously? And it didn't even fight back? It just... What the hell was that leader doing? Did he get cold feet or something? That one time when his life was in danger, he just gave it all up. I thought he had some guts. I thought he was standing up for the right things. His principles. But I guess not. Oh. I see that you've fallen far, my friends. You who were once considered a candidate to the honor of Ppyeo. And with that brand of a nobi, saddle your strength. Even your mastery with the blade will only dull you. Are you to be my executioner then? Yo. I hadn't received the order to behead you yet, if that is what you're asking. Nor would it befit someone of my station to sully my hand with an executioner's due. How will you live on now? I don't know. The Consular has abandoned me, so there's no path forward. Ppyeo, oh my god. Ppyeo Other's industry is more corrupted than I had thought. Rotten to its very core. This is where the game will end. Time to resign my stones, I would say. Indeed it is. Why are you freeing me? Once a game has been lost, you start anew and test other gambles in the next round, right? Why don't you just stop playing this unfair game when the opponent always starts with stone placed on all 9 star points on the board, blatantly cheating from the very start, giving yourself all sorts of handicaps? How about you just find a place where you can begin anew in an equal standing? As soon as they realize it was you who has freed me, they will definitely come after you. It's fine. Unlike someone who made a fool of himself and fled after passing the royal examination, I have the royal court's backing as the military commissioner. My position in the court isn't so fickle that it would cast me down right away just because I let go of someone like you. You are a branded criminal after all. In the eyes of the royal court, you're as good as inconsequential. I will report that even if you were to flee, it would still be nothing more than a plaything in the palms of their hands. I didn't think that you were the kind to go against your honorable principles. Some things can be done without bending a rule or two, and you are needed. S.Corp's future is in need of those who are less bounded by exceptions. Like yourself. Or rather expectations. God, I can't read! To be fair though, they're using some very difficult words around here. Some that I have never even seen before. Maybe I should read more old novels. Definitely should read more old novels. And besides, it's not the rules that I stand by. It's my own damn principles. I did say that I owe you a token of gratitude, didn't I? Consider this a sentiment of that. Gratitude and vengeance, after all, share a common quality. They are both debts to be repaid. Young Leon, please, come with me. There's no hope left for S.Corp. You said yourself, didn't you? We will never win as long as they're playing with their rigid games. Listen, they might have a 9-stone advantage over you, but to me, it is as small as 3. I will manage and keep my fingers on the pulse. Besides, change doesn't always have to come from the outside, right? The old wisdom says that to catch a tiger, you must enter its den. But wouldn't it help to have an ally waiting inside the den already, in order to give you backup when the time is needed? That's true. There, it's all done. Your bolts are severed. Now go. Go and build your strength beyond the walls of S.Corp. Yet beware of relying overmuch on their foreign powers. Don't have it in me to take up such a grand purpose though. I'm done with S.Corp. You know how I am. I just go with the flow. Yes I do. Do as you will. Go with the flow. Be whatever you want to be. But I'm just hoping that the current of the river will someday bring you back to us. That's all. Though I had left a rigid game, my records afterwards weren't really that stellar. The laying of the stone on my board was always full of holes and all sorts of mistakes. I joined the Blame Village, became their mentor, dragged them into the library, until eventually I cut down those who had placed their faith in me. Self-defeating moves after self-defeating moves. Yet, when Genro had let me go, I thought I had escaped the tiger's maw. But, as I let the game progress with the flow, I soon came to the realization that my life was an endless sequence of connection and dice. I was in a losing play from the very start. Shadow dancing by the distant humanoid form begins to grow like a wildfire. They are all coming back! That's not good! Freaking zombies! And those in the tier of the blade lineage, one by one, leaped over the walls and approached us. Like the projector of Kim's darkest phantoms. They are from his memories, I see. Yes, they are. Films and photographs can sometimes remain undoctored, but the impression a person gets from viewing the photographs is malleable at best. True. They must be after... Yeah, Kim believes that if the Blade lineage were to come back to life, they would want to kill her. Out of revenge, right? Because he's the one who killed them first. He's the one who put them in danger. They were willing to follow him to the library willingly, because they planned to get something out of it. But at the end of the day, it didn't really work out at all, huh? Nope. Didn't work out at all.